Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Dream Leonard here with TCGunlimited. Um, I didn't think we'd be posting another video today, but just out of curiosity, I played a couple more games, and I've got two more games that I want to show you guys with two different decks. One of these is going to go out to Megado, one of our subscribers that asked about a Cephas deck. This game actually really showed off just how dangerous the deck can be and just how powerful the deck can be. Even when you've got three people ganging up on you, the deck just doesn't care. The deck just does not care. I opted for more combat for that game instead of the combo, but either way, we won handedly. We won off of a cheeky win, but it's still a win. But first up, I'm gonna play Karn, Silver Golem. This is actually pretty funny because this was like game of the boys here. Hand's like not great, but then it's like I see this, right? Like, okay, and I was like, I choose to put that back. Let me just may actually let it yeah, there we go. Alright, so yeah, I mean, like, okay, so let me show you commanders. You know, I like this card. It's neat. I think it's gonna be fun to play against. This I just dislike heavily, but it's fun. I want to build it at some point. And then Kozilek. It's like, oh, it's gonna be battle of the colorless boys here. Okay, I like this. And then I'm like looking. I'm like, wait a minute. It's like, wait a minute. Turn 1 Cloud Key. Like, when is that not amazing? But this guy right here is going to get off a really good play that was actually quite interesting to me. So he gets down his colorless land. I was like, wait, why would you play colorless land? And that was actually when I looked. I was like, oh, okay. So he goes nothing. I'm like, you sure? Let's go ahead and get that Cloud Key, boys. For every card in our deck. Just a basic shrine, nothing too incredible here. I mean, basically, this was a game between me and Kozilek. I mean, there was really no interaction for these guys whatsoever. I mean, I appreciate those guys playing, but I mean, like this got out of hand very quickly. It's super unfortunate. It's basically like me and him are just copying plays from each other. And it's really weird how that ended up. It's like, look, I draw my Hedron. It was like, he draws his Hedron. I was like, okay. And it's like, okay, I'll play Rings of Brighthearth. Okay. You know, because artifacts costing 1 less while you're already tapping for 3. Now, this was the play. This is the play. Like, this is amazing to me. Like, I know this existed. Like, this is nothing new to me. But just your opponent can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hand. So it's like, okay, so now it's just a battle of nobody gets their commander. And it's just, we're going to just have a slugfest. I'm like, okay, I'm cool with that. 6/6 industry, you know, essentially, I mean, it's essentially 6/6 indestructible. I mean, because with the mana we have, like, there's no way we don't get it, right? So, I mean, it was crazy just how quickly this game got just out of hand, despite this amazing play. Like, I can't get access to Karn. I can't go off. Well, I mean, I can, but it's the roundabout way without Karn is annoying. Because, you know, Karn is basically anti most very powerful decks right now. Like, all the big artifact decks is like, okay, you play a bunch of, like, nothing artifacts. I'm like, okay, Karn, just get rid of them. The Winter Orb here was the haha gimmick. As, again, watch. I mean, really? You could both draw Winter Orbs. And I'm like, okay. I don't care. I can pay for 6. 5, technically. Like, this is funny to me. Like, okay, turn what? Turn 3, 5/5 trample indestructible. I'm like, okay, this is just getting crazy. Eventually, I forget who it was, but somebody does destroy it. But like at that point, it was kind of irrelevant. I felt pretty safe not playing my Winter Orb, even though I could have. But it would have required me to have stayed, one of my lands stayed tapped, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to give myself full options. And I'm glad, in the end, I'm glad I chose to. He goes, Sun, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's not stopping anybody, but... And I go, oh, Basalt Monolith, Rings of Brighthearth. I have infinite mana. Nothing to do with it. Like, sure, I could go, and it's basically, he has infinite mana. And I literally go, yeah, but nothing to do with it. Like, literally, my hand is empty. And then, like, the guy goes, okay, Cyclonic Rift. And I'm like, okay. And then he scoops. He's like, okay, cool, you Cyclonic Rift. I can literally just cast it back. I mean, literally, I have Flash with infinite mana. So there was really no point in this. But yeah, that's just how fast a game can go. When somebody just goes, yeah, cool, I've got infinite mana. Nothing to do with it. Nothing. Like, I don't think it lets me do this now, but no, it doesn't. Because I don't think it remembers the entire deck at that up to throughout the game, but I never looked to see what the next card would have been. I mean, because obviously I don't have a draw mechanic, so there's no way I could have, like, dug deeper for a card. I mean, I could have, but with my own Winter Orb in play, that would have been very dumb for me to do. Just letting him bounce this was the best thing I could have done. And basically, this wasn't even going at him. This was just going at the Kozilek. Because I just wanted Kozilek off the board. Like, sure, the other guy took him out of the play, but, you know, there's always, you know, the big Color spells, and the other guy had plenty of mana. So I was like, I just need to get Kozilek off the board. But, you know, GG. That's game one. Again, Cephas, so prepare to enjoy the just tomfoolery this is. I'm not going to try to stop this one, but graveyards really weren't important here. So we're just going to go ahead and close these. We got off to a pretty fast start. I mean, obviously, as you can see, we gambled a lot with this. We gambled a lot. Not even going to lie. We gambled a lot. But it paid off. Like, us playing for speed really paid off. And then, like, here's the weird part, right? Like, here's the silly thing. Because I do something really kind of wonky, but I thought it was kind of funny. But we're going to go... Okay, yeah, so we're going to go Cephas turn one, and this guy's going to basically just insta-kill Cephas. Like, I just don't know... I don't understand what his beef is, but he's like, nah, not having none of that. A lot of the jewels being played, not jewels, but the Manalians being played in this game. But he's gonna go like Sign in Blood, and he's gonna go, okay, well I have for this, kill your guy. I'm like, okay, cool, watch this. I'm like, alright, time to go big. I'm like, okay, see this. Oh no, okay, that's right. I was like, no, watch this. I was like, I'm gonna go big. Oh no, I was like, no, that's right. I was like, alright, I'll play for mana, sure, okay. Like, the fact that this stayed in play as long as it did, I'm really, really surprised. Like, the fact that everybody was so concerned with just killing Cephas was hilarious to me. Like, you're killing the one card I can just essentially cast infinitely. Now, this guy really kind of started getting on my nerves. The champions really kind of started getting out of control. But, like, when I say getting on my nerves, I don't mean, like, in a bad way. Like, I got nothing against the guy. He actually played a really good game. He made me really try. This guy basically scoops in like 1 or 2 more turns, and then it's just 3 of us, and it basically is just, it's just a 2-for-1, or you know, a 1v2. And I go, okay, Cephas. And I go, okay, mana. And I go, Sterling Grove. And he goes, oh, no. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Fine, sure. I was like, sure. No problem. I'm like, okay, at that point, you know, I'm going to go ahead and foretell my Doomblade and just kind of be done. Or Doomscar, not Doomblade, but yeah, whatever. But yeah, I mean, it just kind of like escalated from there. It was kind of crazy how this game went. It was kind of back and forth, but I mean, it really was for a while. It was literally just me play a card and watch it die. But I knew here from the fact that I think I play Champion in this deck too. I know just how bad this deck can get out of hand. And this guy really just was not having any of me. I want to say it was like during this round of turns he scoops, because I don't remember anything after him doing this right here. It's like he doesn't really do anything. I'm like, cool, you put that on a solemn. That's cool. Like they brought down the only like bad side here was like I only have on thin ice, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, see, he scoops there, and it's just like, okay. Well, and it's like, alright, I'm going to take away your champion. Like, I didn't want to lose this, but I knew I didn't have a choice. He shoots it, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. I mean, it's, you know, here's what it is. And he passes over. This guy's basically going to go and shoot my, my land here, just to get rid of not only a land, but also, you know, my enchantment, which is fine. Like, that irritated me, but not beyond reason. I knew basically that this deck was going to be nothing but like kill cards and then tech to get more kill cards. So it's like I knew that I had to play around that fact. So it's just like, okay, then so this is like, okay, Darksteel, let's get rid of that. Let's stop that. Let's stop all that shenanigans. You know, go get a land, you know, fix our land where you made it where we don't have white. Like this, and the silly thing is like the fact that this is an enchantment as well, so it's just auto taps for 1. I guess it would have to stop it from being like kind of a garbage card, but it's fine. Like, and this guy is like just full on over there for like the majority of the game. I mean, he got in like a couple really good hits on me, but for the most part, like, we were fine. And so here was like the thing, it's like, oh, okay, he didn't use it, weirdly, but sure. It's like, not like I took the ability away. But I was like, alright, let's just go ahead and stop all of this nonsense. But he's going to choose to take out his enchantment, not this, oddly. So I go Starfield to Nyx, I'm like, okay, cool, I'll just get all of my stuff back. It's not a problem. It's fine. Like, it's not a problem. He basically chooses to do nothing. The Beast Within destroyed the Starfield, and that, you know, that kind of escalated that, but, you know, it was like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, I really have nothing now, but it's like, draw into an Enchantress, so I'm like, okay, I'm on good terms now. And, like, that's what I'm saying, is like, despite the fact that it was essentially 3-on-1 with literally just me playing a card, watching it die for several turns, for, what, yeah, 8 turns straight, we still win this game. He chooses to flash in the Ava, which, you know, I guess he didn't have a choice. I did make like one slight misplay in all of the to deal with this guy. I did let him get off a portal way too many times than I should have, and that was just me being stupid. I let him get off. Yeah, I let him get off the, what is it? Not portal. The, what is it? The planar bridge. That's it. I don't know why that was doing that. I guess it's not showing the time, and it thinks I'm trying to check the time. But it's just like, okay, I'm not getting anywhere. I gotta get cards. I gotta stop this. Like, if he gets up to 8, he's just gonna start putting things in play. I can't have this. He's just gonna go get something like a... Like, at this point, like, I knew what he was doing. Like, he was gonna go get Seedborn Muse. That way he could just get something in play every turn. I'm like, no, I can't let you do that. I have to get preparations. The Mirage Mirror here was pretty good. It put me in like a weird position because I knew what he could do with it. And it made it really kind of put me in a bad place just because I wasn't sure how I was going to deal with a lot of these things. Like, we've got the On Thin Ice. Like, I could use this to neutralize something. The problem is I just didn't have a snow permanent. And at this point, like, okay, it was basically at this point that things really just kind of started going our way. Because once we hit this point and we just started drawing a bunch of cards, like, there really just wasn't much that we needed to worry about. Again, as you see, we drew 2 lands and this, so nothing. We still can't stop the planar portal. This is where we start going into token production. Go ahead and start getting a field ready. Use our fetch to get double up on the triggers. And that's basically the strategy for a lot of the deck, is just, you know, taking full advantage of, like, fetch lands and whatnot. And the fact, like, that you can use the Mistveil Plains here to put the fetches back and use them again. And again, like, oddly, I expected all of these to come at me, but they didn't. They all went over there. I mean, I guess he just decided that he was the bigger threat just because of what the Ava meant, because of this. But the Ava goes down due to a, what was it, a Sandblast, right? A Sandblast. And, so that kind of put him on the back burner. I guess he didn't draw, well, he drew a land, he drew this, and it has to come in tapped, so. I was like, okay, we've got one more turn with no planar portal. He's got to get Ava back down. I sacrificed the Mar Enchantment to scry, and luckily we found what we were looking for. We just had to get things in play to draw some cards. And that's basically what we did. Because we got our Soul Snare, we got Song of the Dryads, which was what we used to eliminate this for a time. And we got our winning card, Approach of the Second Sun. We just didn't use it for a long time. We just didn't really have the mana, and I didn't want to waste it and then not get value. Because like I said, at this point, we were kind of more digging for a combo than anything. And so, like I said, they're kind of making their preparations. They're trying to fight back. But like I said, it's kind of like at this point, it's like the game just does not matter. Like, we've got this game in the bag. I mean, it was basically around this point, I was like, okay, I don't see how this goes wrong. It's like, sure, I've got the Concordant Crossroads, you know, I've got a cheap enchantment where we can draw a bunch of cards, but I wasn't in the position where I felt comfortable giving them a bunch of haste creatures. And here again, in a moment, we're going to be basically up to 16 cards in our hand on the next turn. This was another problematic card I should not have let happen, but due to my failure, I let it happen, and I should not have. And of course, the Nissa did not help. The Nissa did not help. If it wasn't for the Nissa, we'd have been fine. We would have actually killed him the turn before he could have really done anything crazy. But because of the Nissa, we weren't in a good position. And again, while this really doesn't make a difference because we're drawing 3 cards and it's not like this changes anything, it does let us kind of manipulate which card we're going to use to draw more cards. And in this case was like, is great because we're just going to get a bunch of mana. We're going to be able to accelerate really, really quickly. And that was basically the way this game went, was just I needed to accelerate as fast as possible. And this is like the perfect example of what this deck can do when it just kind of when you get to that point where nothing else matters, the game plan is set, you can't mess up, and you just go all in, and you're just full speed ahead. See, at this point, before I did the Grasp of Fate, I should have done the Stony Silence first. But in the end, that really didn't make a difference. I mean, because we still did it. We still got a bunch of more cards. And here he makes kind of an interesting choice. Not that it really mattered. As basically, I'm going to swing all of our excess cards at the Nissa because I just don't want that there. I don't need him animating lands. But he's gonna put up the Yavin. That was fine, just to get rid of our 3/3. But I really needed the Nissa going. And our Gambit paid off. And like I said, the surprising thing is, like, this guy doesn't swing at us. He goes all in at him. You guys like, why are you swinging at me? The other guy's got 16 cards in hand. He's got Board Wipe. He's got Teferi's Protection. He's got Heroic Intervention. He's literally got all the defense cards. Now, this caught me off guard. And then Board Wipe. I was like, oh, okay, this isn't good. Because that's going to give him back this. That's giving him back this. I mean, like, it was very unfortunate how that went down. But, and then here comes the Seedborn Muse, like I was pretty much afraid of. Although I think, for whatever reason, I think the I think the yield got the better of him because he didn't use it. Like, I fully expected him to use it to go get like some kind of shroud or something. I mean, because you would think in this deck you would run some sort of evasion, considering what your deck does. And I'm like, okay, well, you're not going to do it. I'm going to take away the Seedborn Muse. I have protection now. I'm going to play this Open the Vaults. We're going to get back all of our stuff. Sure, we miss some stuff. We lose kind of a little bit here, but for the most part, we're pretty much good. And thanks to Starfield of Nyx, we just kind of, like, okay, it's like we got a giant field here. There's no way I don't take advantage of this. I just kind of wish we'd had, like, one more land so I could have, like, safely played around both, could have played around both Heroic Intervention and Teferi's Protection at the same time. But unfortunately, we just weren't in a good enough place. And then here I go. Okay, now's the time for Concordant Crossroads. He doesn't have the cards in hand. This guy's not doing anything. We're just going all in. I'm going to make sure we take away graveyard plays, as he likes to recur a lot. I was like, okay, so now we're in the driver's seat. Now we're just going to go all in, except for the Concordant Crossroads, except for the seal. And at this point, I really wasn't, like, expecting a whole lot to say. But he goes, okay, well, I'm just going to Yeva, and I'm going to draw a bunch of cards, and I'm going to keep trying to refill my hand. And it's like, oh, that's why I should have tried to get rid of this. And I was like, okay, I forgot. And I was like, wait, I did. And I kind of I was like looking around, and I'm like, oh, wait, this is the Sculpting Steel copy that he got when he got his Sculpting Steel back. So he had 2 of them. I guess he kind of anticipated me doing it, but... and then he's basically just going to double up all of his blocks. And the only thing that essentially just isn't going to die is, this, because of Indestructible. And I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. I mean, you can do that. And I'm just going to, Intervention and be cool with this at this point. At that point, it's just wanting me to sign blocks, which was kind of irrelevant. So yeah, we just go ahead and make our guys invincible. So that we don't lose anything. He goes down to 11. Well, and this didn't die. I don't know why this didn't die, but... this was essentially irrelevant. That didn't really matter. He tries to just blast all of our guys, and I go, okay, you know, I don't really have to, but sure, we'll go to Teferi's Protection. Protect all of our stuff. And at this point, they're both kind of just in, like, desperate straits. I think they kind of knew the game was done. There was no way I was killing him off combat damage in one turn, so I think he was expecting another turn. But I kind of had other plans. Like, this was a good idea. Like, making it where my combat damage is irrelevant was a good idea. The downside is it just doesn't matter. Yeah, because, I mean, at this point, it just didn't matter. Because, like, I already knew that we had the board wipe. I knew we had options should we need to go that route. But I didn't really see the point. Like, I knew I could just swing lethal, then board wipe, and then just win because he's in negative. Although, wait, this is the one that says you can't go below 7, so... But I was like, that's fine. We'll take that away. It was kind of at this point, like, I realized I really wasn't drawing cards, and it was kind of weird to me. But I was like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and start preparing for combat. All of our guys are pretty big. You know, go ahead and make a bunch of mana. We're gonna go ahead and place Approach of the Second Sun. And it was just basically, can I get enough draw to get back to it? And then thanks to the Zendikar Resurgent, thanks to this, and thanks to this, we got there quite easily. And then, like I said, it basically just came down to, like, just playing out the bunch of little enchantments that we use. And, like, this is the point. Like, we have a huge field. When I see the card, I'm going to pause. But, yeah, we'll let it go through this. But we're just going to basically just draw a bunch of cards. And basically, the game was usually what you typically want to do. Is you want to get like a field like this, where you've got like 20 guys on board. I mean, I don't think we had 20 right here, but what, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15? No, not quite. But basically the goal is put down this. This would have been 16. Could have made it 17, 18. I mean, we could have easily gotten there because we could have done this first. But basically the goal is get on 20 guys and win off of this. And it's basically you just play Epic Struggle with 20 guys in play and then cast Teferi's Protection and just go, well, you either stop me at instant speed or I win. You either counter the trigger or I win. And unfortunately, you know, sure, if you've got a Stifle or something that can counter a trigger, then yeah, there's nothing I can do. Because there is no get this back. There's none of that. I don't run anything like that. But as you see, like we had the strip mine. I could have used the strip mine to essentially just destroy this at this point because it was just a land. So we were in a good place, and no matter what they did, we just won. And then it was just like I said. It just became a matter of, can we get back to it? And the answer was just simply yes. Basically, he's just going to just burn you just for ha. I'm glad he did. He put me at an even life total. So I'm kind of happy about that. I'm weird about odd numbers. And then there we go. Second Sun back in the hand. And, of course, plenty of mana thanks to Resurgent. And there we go. That's GG.